gentlemen, and welcome to episode 89 of the ATL Falcons UK podcast. Not too long of a show today, not too much to cover, but of course the schedule has come out. We're a few days behind the news, but we may as well run through it with the boys and see where we're all at. We're also going to drop our season predictions in terms of wins and losses and stuff, so we can keep track of that throughout the season. We have a member of the pack returning, Cal, down here somewhere after a couple of shows off, and we've lost Mark in the process, so apparently it's one or the other. I've never seen them both in the same room at the same time, so you never know. Boys, how are you both doing? Liam, it's been a few weeks. What have you been up to?
Yeah, all good. Nothing major really, just enjoying the weather that we've had recently, which has been a nice change.
It actually does make a change, doesn't it? My life is so much better when there's sun outside.
Definitely, everything's happier. Other than that, just the usual stuff. Obviously still enjoying the ice hockey season at the moment. That's going towards the end.
Oh yeah.
Enjoyed the Hawks picking up the number one pick in the NBA draft, which was nice. A nice little things.
You can have you can have a segment on that at the end, because that feels notable enough. What did you say? A 3% chance or something?
3% chance, yeah. Yeah.
Notable. Cal, where have you been?
Well, again, good question. I've been away a couple of times, so I'm going to use that as an excuse. Life's all right. Keeping busy. Football. But won't talk about any English football because all that.
No.
We'll keep to the proper football anyway.
Yeah, there we go. That's what we're all here for, isn't it? We'll leave that one. I don't know what happens in the Premier League. Definitely don't watch that. I don't know what you're all on about. But yeah, so like I said, we'll just break down the schedule a little bit. Not too much detail. We're not going to go ins and outs and stats of every single game. It's far too early for that. But I've got a few notables. So the first three games, when it came out, well, actually, the first three games got announced, leaked, released well before the actual schedule came out. So we already knew it was going to be a thing. But Steelers, Eagles, and the Chiefs back to start the season is heavy by all accounts. We're not really known for getting off the mark very quickly either. So I think that's a nice little run of games. How are you both feeling? What do you reckon we'd take from the first three? Obviously, it's early days, but go on, Liam.
It's a tricky one. I think part of me says that's a pretty obviously tough start to the season, and like you say, we don't really start that well, so it's a tricky one. But then likewise, if you're going to play sort of the top teams, maybe you do want to play them early while they're obviously might be fresh roster wise, but ultimately they won't be battle hardened and their own flow. Like the Chiefs obviously sort of struggled a little bit earlier on in the season last season towards the middle, and then obviously just got built momentum throughout the season, didn't they? And that was kind of what they do, and maybe they'll have a similar approach this year. And if we can get them early, you never know what can happen. Same with the Eagles.
Yeah,
it's quite unpredictable. They were the opposite. They kind of obviously faded away, but if they carry on the end of last season momentum, they didn't look very good. But whether they could reset and come again, we'll see. Steelers, I don't really know what they're going to do.
No,
they've made some quite drastic changes in various different areas, on and off the field, haven't they? So I don't know what to expect from them, to be honest. But
it'd be very typical of the Steelers and Arthur to absolutely put on a show after we've suffered for all that time, and him just go, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to sink 50 points," and we're like, "Thanks for that, cheers."
I think they will probably be a better team this season than they were last season, but again, they've got a lot of new pieces to work with that can either go really well or take a while to settle in. Which again, if you're gonna see a team take a while to settle in, I'd rather play them first. So
yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. Cal, what are you thinking about the early games? Is it going to set the tone for our season, or can we blag it?
No, I think like obviously on paper we have the easiest schedule, but whatever that means, because every time, every year it does change anyway. Like obviously teams get stronger, some teams get
Yeah.
weaker. So, but starting off with the Steelers with Arthur Smith coming back, it's couldn't really ask for a juicier one to start the season off.
I don't
I'd say
believe that one's not scripted. It's
I
got to
know,
be
yeah,
scripted.
I know.
It's so obvious.
I'd say that's the easiest of the three. But like what Liam said, I was going to mention with the Chiefs, they don't tend to start too quick. So if you're going to play the Chiefs, we know we had them in the schedule, so to play them in the second or third game is probably a lot beneficial to us compared to them. After the 3 games, you're expecting minimum 1 win, but
yeah.
obviously you never know what could happen. But obviously we're going to be a team that will be pushing for the playoffs and should be pushing for the playoffs this year, no matter what. So after the 3 games, you never know. Anything could be 3-0, could be 0-3. But it's games like that where that will excite the fan base quite quickly. Like you've got tough games straight away, but if we want to reach the playoffs and we want to reach as far as we can this year, you've got to play the best and you've got to beat the best. So to start off a new regime like we have in Atlanta, so I don't see why not. It's quite exciting. It's better to play them both at the start, I'd say. But
it's weird, isn't it, though? Like, you said new regime there because obviously it's a new regime, but for some reason it doesn't feel very fresh. It's probably because obviously Raheem's been there, done it, and also been in the building before, but I'm not getting the same, like, when we had Dan Quinn on board and when we changed to Arthur Smith and everything, it all felt like a complete overhaul, whereas this feels it's been for years. It feels like normal almost.
Because a lot of the team, you'd say like a lot of the offense is already there from last year. Like we've kept like 80% of the players, but you've just got a new quarterback. So it's not like we've restarted the whole team. Like got everyone in and got everyone out. The offense is literally we said we could have been a quarterback away from reaching the playoffs, and let's be honest, we probably was.
Absolutely.
And then the defense, if the defense is similar to last year, obviously we've got a few new players, and obviously was it 90% of the draft was defense in the end or whatever.
Yeah.
You never know what cap. If you have a defense like we did last year, you're definitely going to be pushing. So I think them 3 games, it's going to be exciting to watch straight away. Especially, I can't remember. I think we've played the Chiefs once, and obviously when me and Danny have been watching, and I think we only just lost against them as well. So it was one of them games where you think, bloody hell. But you never know, and it's obviously always an exciting team to watch. And they're both prime time games as well, are they?
Are they? Honestly, I lost track. The fact that we have 4 is absolutely crazy to me.
I'm pretty sure the Chiefs and Eagles
and Chiefs.
Yeah, Eagles and Chiefs are. Yeah, you're right.
And I'd say it could be more of most of USA cheering for us compared to them too. So you never know.
You never know. Could get away with it. So follow it. Oh, just a little side note. Anyone that's watching on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it, we still don't get your comments. StreamYard does not allow them from X for whatever reason. So if you do want to comment and get involved, head over to either YouTube or Facebook and you can comment away there and we can get it up on screen. Anywho, moving on, after those first 3 games, we have 3 divisional games back to back to back. So in my head, I think we know whether we're going to get to the playoffs or not based on those first 6 games. Because there's no way that it won't set a good tone for this or an accurate tone for the season. You've got, as a bare minimum, you've got to come out of those first 6 games with 3 wins. Otherwise, it's too far gone already almost. Yeah. Liam, what are you thinking about the back-to-back-to-backs?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, obviously, because I think you'd say that we've got 3 tough games in general, NFL-wise, in the first 3. And then the second set of 3 are easier, obviously much easier in terms of roster to roster.
Yeah.
But they are all also divisional games that which makes rivalry changes the way games are
100%.
played, doesn't it? It's just like in any sport, like a team can really get up for it, with lesser players. So I still think, even though those 3 games are obviously very winnable at it, and I think we should be winning them, that's actually 6 tough games to start the season. If you look at it, obviously it's with 3 rivalry games and 3 actual good teams on the other side. So it's a very tough start to the season for us. But like I say, I think that will tell us exactly where we're at, and if we don't come out of that with at least 3-3, we're probably not that good of a team.
No. Yeah, we probably don't deserve anything else. Yeah.
No, so I think we've got to approach it with I would say that we've got to come out 3-3. So I'd say minimum. And I think performances will be a big thing. If we lose to the Chiefs, Eagles, even Steelers, certainly Chiefs and Eagles, I would expect us to be competitive in all 3 of those games at least. Like, I wouldn't expect us to get blown out by even a team like the Chiefs, because I don't think they've obviously got some very special players, but ultimately they're not like that strong in terms of the top to bottom roster anymore. We're probably in a position where especially with Cousins now, where we would probably look very similar to them in terms of roster strength. Yes, they probably got the edge in, obviously they were the quarterback against anybody, and then the the coaching and the schemes that they got up obviously is an advantage over anybody because they're so good at what they do. But we should be right there with them. So I think performance as well as results, performances are going to be very important. I think even if we came out of that first 3, 1 and 2, even 0-3, as long as if we're very, very close, that'll give us something to work with for the rest of the season. Then we'd have to win those 3 divisional games, basically, if we came out 0-3 the first.
Without a doubt. Let's get some comments up and see what it's saying. How you doing, everyone? Smitty reckons the middle of the schedule is the toughest, and to be fair, after them 6 that we just discussed, it's Seahawks, Bucks again, Cowboys, Saints again. It's weird, isn't it? Because the NFL can say easiest schedule and all of that, but it really doesn't mean a single thing. What teams were last year does not dictate how they were this year. If anything, it means you're probably more likely to face a better team because all the draft picks were miles higher as well. So it's a pain in the arse, really. I think those games, well, in case anybody didn't know, I may as well chuck this one out there now. We are like 95% sure that we're heading over to Atlanta this year. So if you're from the UK and you've not seen our posts, head over to our tagged post on Twitter or X, and you can sign up and get yourself involved on the trip if you want. Over 50 people have jumped on so far. I'm sure a large chunk of them are going to come over with us. If you're in America, we will try and meet you all out there. We're trying to sort some events out and stuff. But the reason I brought that up is because the 2 games that we're looking at as a primary at the moment in time are the Seahawks in week 7 or the Cowboys in week 9. And we've not really discussed this in the group chat because they're just the ones that the kind of time period we're looking at. So go on, Liam, hit me. Which game would you rather see? Not that it dictates which one we go to, but which would you rather see?
I think both would be interesting, but I think it'd be Dallas, wouldn't it? I think if anyone's gonna, that's the big draw would be a game against Dallas. I think against anybody, they're a big team, big following, America's team, and all that.
Yeah, everybody was saying in the comments when I posted it that they always take a massive following in comparison to other franchises and stuff. So, kind of want to go and make sure there's a good atmosphere, don't you?
Yeah.
Cal, do you have a preference out of those 2? I mean, I have a preference, and it'd be an Aints game, but it just doesn't follow right. It fell midweek, and that's just doesn't really suit this year.
I think for the first game for us, I don't think it would matter too much because going over is going to be quite special for fans that have never been over anyway. But I'd say, like we say, like the Cowboys would be special because it is America's team, and it is if they bring like a good following, it does create good atmosphere in the ground and that. But what is it, week 9? So it depends how we are. Obviously, it don't make any difference where we're going anyway. But if you are like in a good steady, say you're 5-3 by that point, the fan base would be up. No matter, or even if it's the Seahawks and you're 4-3 up by then, or 4-2, the fan base will be right up for it, no matter which game. But
I was gonna say, if
the Seahawks are slightly shitter, I will prefer that one. So we're guaranteed to see a win.
This is the thing. I don't know how international fans travel over so often, because the anxiety of going all that way and seeing your team get absolutely leathered is not very reassuring, and it's very possible. Moving away from that and back onto the schedule and everything, I got a nice little graphic pop up on my timeline yesterday, and I thought I'd draw it out. So, off the top of your head, boys, do you know which team furthest back won their playoff game? God, I worded that so badly. So, which team hasn't won a playoff game for the longest? Should have come out of my mouth.
Oh no, I've seen this the other day.
Hasn't won a playoff game for the longest.
Yeah, so obviously Falcons are 6 years deep now, and Ravens and all of them are all 0 years so far. And then, do you know which team and how far back it was, according to Twitter? And I hope I've not been trolled, but it looks right.
Wait.
Is it Miami?
It is Miami.
Yeah, I was going to say about the Jets.
Yeah, well,
they was the two, but I can remember the Jets.
Miami is sitting at 23 years without a playoff win, which is
wow.
I thought we had it rough, but what's bizarre about that to me is that they're not a bad team.
Yeah, considering
they're not that bad of a team. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. I mean, they did suck for a long time.
Yeah.
They're heavily, but I mean,
and then in recent years,
fairly recently, they're a team that should be winning a playoff game. Yeah,
exactly. After that, it's the Raiders with 21 years.
Oh, Raiders.
Washington with 18, and then you were bang on the money eventually. Bears and Jets.
Jets, they were the two 18. I would have said.
I won't go any lower than that because it ends up being the Falcons, and we're pretty high on that list ourselves. So I'll avoid that one. Let's have a look at the comments.
I guess the Jets must be, obviously not for winning one, but I bet the Jets must be right up there in the last time they actually made the playoffs. They must be the first.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
I can't remember them making the playoffs since I was following the sport.
I was gonna say, because it's a little bit of a deceptive stat, that really, isn't it? Because you could get to the playoffs every single year and just never win one. Like, in theory, the Dolphins could have got there for 23 consecutive years and just not done anything about it.
Yeah,
I seen one of the things on Twitter the other day. I think Jets, out of their division, they're actually the 5th most successful team in their division, because the Titans used to be in the division and they've won their division more than the Jets.
That's embarrassing.
That's really good. That is a very good random stat. That's horrific.
I've just had a look. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. The Jets haven't been in the playoffs for 13 seasons.
Oof.
2010 was the last time they actually made the playoffs. Never mind.
I really don't want to jinx anything though, because we're 6 deep now, and it's getting close to that territory. Getting close.
Yeah.
I think this is
I think they'll be in the same boat as us this year. With obviously, if Rodgers stays fit, they'll be their fan base will be like, we have to reach the playoffs this year. Right?
Yeah, I mean, us and the Panthers are got both on 6. The interesting one is the second longest drought of being in the playoffs is the Broncos for 8 years, but the last time they were in the playoffs, they won the Super Bowl.
That's an all right stat to have, to be fair.
Yeah,
I'd take
I
that
would
than
take.
not having
I
it.
would take that.
Yeah.
God, that isn't bad, that.
We could go to the playoff once every 8 years, but you win it, you'd be all right.
Yeah, you win it, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, can't believe that. They won it and then never been in the playoffs since.
Not even had a sniff at
Insane.
it. God.
That is
To
crazy.
be fair, not that I want to talk of that fateful night, but that would have been the Falcons in theory, because if we won,
Yeah,
we've
we
not
would.
been back for 6 years, so we would have been
Yeah.
in the exact same spot now.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
going to jump to the comments a sec. Lee, we will probably know this week, to be completely honest with you. I've had a bit of back and forth with a few different people, both the provider and people over the pond, trying to sort stuff out. And we've whittled it down to the Seahawks and the Cowboys, and we're just trying to sort some logistics and see which is easier for as many people as possible. So we will let you all know, and you will know about 33 seconds after I find out myself, because I will be very excited to tweet it out there and post it out everywhere. So we'll get on that as soon as we can. Bing. Right, let's get then. It's very early, and I'm not going to make you go do it game by game, because we'll save that for just before the season where we do our proper wins and losses. But Cal, what do you think our wins and losses are going to be this season? We'll do a real game by game breakdown a little bit closer, where we go game through game, so we can actually put it on a chart and have a bit of a competition this year. But
I think there's obviously 17 games. We've got to be. I think you win 9 games, you win the division without doubt. I don't think.
You think?
I think if you win 9 games, you win our division.
Yeah.
So, but then it depends. Like what you say, like a lot of it depends on the first. Well, like you say, 6. Obviously, it depends on every game, but the first 6 games, you got 3 games that are all very tough.
Yeah.
But you still, if you want to compete in the playoffs, if you get to the playoffs, there are teams you've got to be competing with. And like what Liam said, if you are 0-3, but you've only lost by 3 points in each game, at least you are being competitive in them games. So it does,
very true.
You want that. You don't want to be. If you get blown out in the first 3 games, fucking hell, this fan base will blow up again.
Yeah,
That's what you don't really want. I'm gonna so hard, because I think the first 6 games, obviously, if you're 3-3 after that, you're 11 games there. I'm gonna go with 9-8, but I'm pushing 10.
It's weird, isn't it? Because that, to us, by our standards, in the last couple of years, is a good season. But
yeah, like we've obviously never seen a playoff game, never been in the playoffs, but we've never seen a positive record either. I think 9-8 wins the division personally, especially if it was as bad as last year.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
But I think the last few games we could hit. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 10 wins.
Yeah,
with the schedule and the team we have, but obviously it depends on every game.
Well, for the time being, I'll hold you to on 9-8 until we do a game by game rundown, and that might change a little bit when you actually look at each individual one and think, no. Liam, what are you leaning towards at the minute?
I'm going to say 10-7, I think. But I think 9-8, 10-7 are probably the 2 that I would be expect us to sit around.
Yeah,
like we could do slightly better, but we could do slightly worse. But I think I would expect us to come out around about that mark, just based on quite a few different factors. The teams that we're obviously against, and the fact that we've got a few different things going on within our team, but also the fact that our division sucks and there's opportunity to win 6 games like there. So I think putting all that together, I think we might come out about 10-7.
Yes, we're all on the same ballpark. I think I'm pretty much the same. I'm leaning towards 10-7 as well. Christy Lewis also is 9-11 wins. I actually agree with that. I'm not concerned about the Panthers again really this year. I mean, if we lose to them, we lose to them. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not really concerned about them. The Aints are a little bit all over the show again. But Tampa aren't significantly weak as I thought they'd end up being. And there has been a lot of change in the division. It has that's what I mean about our change. Our change doesn't seem as chaotic as everyone else is changing coaches and stuff like that. It kind of feels quite homely. Obviously, schemes change and stuff, and I can see Liam contemplating my thought of homeliness, but it just feels like everybody already knows what they're going to be doing in a weird way. Liam, you're a scheme man. Do you think it's going to be hard for the players to adapt or anything, or?
No, there's not major changes, obviously, in terms of the way we're going to approach it. I don't think we'll see anything like completely different in the way that we play. I think we'll just probably use a bit more. I'm hoping to see some more creativity to get some, more balls in hand than we saw. Which is the interesting thing is I feel like the way that the Rams will play on offense was to very much a ball in hand to the receivers sort of team and make the yards that way, because they had like Nakua and stuff who's not that tall. Cooper Kupp's not. He's another one who's can sort of like take the ball a little bit earlier and make yards. Nakua was exactly that. He would make a lot of yards with ball in hand. Our rosters sort of like receiver wise is leaning towards more your physical ball catchers, where you maybe not make like Drake London's not got phenomenal speed once he's got the ball, but he's obviously a go up and get it guy, which tends to mean you pass the deeper balls to him. It got a little bit different than what maybe they used to at the Rams, but I can't see it being a major issue to adapt. Like if we were talking about a rookie quarterback or something, I think they struggle to adapt to sort of any scheme. It's always different in college. Coming out of it, I think any rookie quarterback would be like, wow, this is crazy. But Cousins has played, for however many years. He's seen all sorts of different stuff. So I'm not worried about him at all adapting to any style. I think he'd just step into anything. Be that kind of player. Defense will be different. I don't really know what to expect. That's the main point where I don't know how different we will look in terms of the way that we'll approach it. I think our defense was better obviously last year. So it'll hit and miss in areas, but overall it was better. So whether we'll see like a continuation of that, or whether we'll just see an overhaul, I really don't know what we'll come out with. I think the way that we've done the draft, I think we're going to come out with people with flexibility. I think will be the key word. Especially on that defensive line, using people across that defensive line, different positions, different looks, like a lot of smoke screens is what I'm sort of expecting on the defensive side of the ball. I think we'll try and be very unpredictable, which can be a very, very good way to approach it. So, and again, I don't think players will struggle to adapt to that either. So I don't think we'll come out with anything too complex. But so I think we should be fine with that. I'm not worried about that in any way.
Just referring to some of the content. Let's have a look. Well, actually, let's not skip forward just yet. Just off the back of what you said, Liam. Trench is going to be huge this year. The season will be made or broken on the offensive line. Well, for far too long, the offensive line let Matt Ryan get turned into a sack of potatoes. And then it's actually started to pick up over the last few years, which is funny because then we've not had a quarterback that was good enough to utilize the space and time that they've been given. So we will see. 100%.
Cousins is very, very used to getting sacks, so.
True. Just off the back of that, because that's kind of where I was going with this anyway. So I'm sure everybody's seen a ton of content that Falcons have been putting out, all the mini camps and all of everything like that that's been going on. Penix is looking fresh. He's looking sharp. I know this has been a conversation surrounding the draft, but as we see more and more of him, do you think that's going to change how many snaps he's going to get or how many games he's going to get? Or do you think that's completely dependent on how this season pans out? Carl, I'll go to you first and let Liam sit on it for a bit.
I don't think it makes any difference. I think they know why they've drafted him. They know what he can do. He is just one for the future, but he is also, if the worst happens to Cousins, you've got someone who can probably step in who will be better than what we had before.
Yeah.
Which isn't probably that hard.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll be the only snaps I want him to do is literally kneeling down and we'll take 17 victories. If he can do that 17 times, I'm fucking happy.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be the only times he'll take any snaps this year, which is fine. Like they've drafted him for the future, and he is there in case the worst happens to Cousins, which obviously touch wood, hopefully it doesn't. But he looks good, but it's obviously just a lot of people do look good in training, so it's not really that
very
hard
true.
to use that. But he is there, and he's a good second backup until Cousins obviously leaves in a couple of years. So
Riddle looks like Matt Ryan in training, so you know, stuff happens. Liam, have you seen any bits of, well, not just Penix, of any of the clips of the rookies, and you think that they're looking sharp or anyone? I know it's always just clips, isn't it? But it's always
it is like game situations just change everything, don't they? But I'm sure we'll look good. And I've watched a decent amount of Penix obviously play in game situations, and there's no real doubting about what he can actually do with the football. I don't think anybody can really doubt that ability. I don't think, obviously based on, unless Cousins gets injured or he's just genuinely bad, which I don't expect to happen. I don't think Penix will see the field at all. Unless we have some kind of like creative gadget plays for him or something like that. Like unless we have something like that, I can't imagine you see the field because you'd expect Cousins to be solid. Even if he's not spectacular, I think he's always been consistent. So if he could bring that, I think Penix will just obviously sit. But hopefully he's picking some stuff up along the way and improving his game. Refining to an NFL type of offense, and then see what he can do from there. It takes time for any rookie to adapt. Not many that get thrown in and can be instantly good because it takes time to adapt to the sort of reads that you have to deal with in the NFL. But it's hard to do that. Like, even when he does play his first game, it's hard to, even if you've been watching, practicing for a season, 2 seasons, it's nothing like playing your first game, is there? Like, you can't actually prep for it. But Cousins is a great leader and a great role model for any quarterback. So there's not many people to be behind.
A little side note about QB1 at the minute as well. He looks massive. He looks wham. I can't say I've ever looked at Cousins' biceps before until now, until the Falcons were shoving him down my throat. But he looks fucking massive. He looks like he's in shape. I suppose with when his ankle was in pieces, he had nothing else to do but hit the gym and only do upper body. He's sharp.
He's a proper.
He's got to get used to all them sacks, I think. So
he's just bouncing them off himself.
He's a grafter. He's a Cousins. He certainly works hard. So if you watch that documentary, the one on Netflix, the quarterback one, that was so a lot of him there. Obviously spent 50% of that show like sort of getting his muscles rubbed by someone because he's getting slammed every game. So he probably thinks he can't let any physique die down because he gets hit so much. But hopefully he's not the most athletic, is he, with his legs? But he's certainly got a cannon arm on him. He'll probably have an even bigger one this season by the sounds of it.
I can't remember if it was London's comments or if it was Pitt's comments, but he got asked, well, what's he like? Is it like, what's Cousins like in the dressing room and all of that? And what's he been like at training? And he just said, he's a dad. Like, he's definitely a dad. He said, he's a lovely guy, but he's definitely a dad. But to be fair, we don't have that many of those dynamics in that locker room from the outside looking in anyway. So it's nice to have another one in there to settle everyone down a bit. You can run on vibes, but vibes don't always.
He's not a vibe guy, is he?
No, he's not. Well, saying that, we've seen him with the chain on and everything, and singing in the back of a coach. So he's a vibes guy, but he just knows when to vibe, and it's not just all the time. Shocking. I don't really have like in any other business section as such this week, because obviously not too much is going on in the world. Have either of you got much to add? If not, I am genuinely going to give Liam a few minutes talking about the Hawks and the pick, because I know there'll be some other Falcons, other Atlanta sports supporters watching right now. So we can have a little chat about that, although I don't know who's getting picked or anything.
I've got one. Heineke, is he still signed for us?
Still there. It's 2.1 he's sat on, I think. Was that wrong? 2.1 mil.
So I'm guessing, well, I don't know. I'm guessing he will be released close, depending how obviously Penix is doing.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on what else we want to do with the funds as well, because really we still need another cornerback, and we could still do with seeing what else is on the market available, to be completely honest. So I wouldn't be shocked if there was a couple more reshuffles at some point. Do you think there's anyone else we're going to pick up, Liam? I know it's when it gets to this kind of time, it's not quite as prominent, is it? But
no,
because everybody that's wanted is already gone. But
yeah, that's the thing. I think usually
we're a few short, but
a few squad rotational players. I think it's unlikely that you're going to get someone who's going to be like really, really impactful at this point, just because, like you said, everybody, if they were that in demand, they'd have probably gone somewhere by now. So
yeah, exactly.
You can't find the odd star who maybe like you can get something out of, but I can't see anything big happening from here that's going to be a game changer for us.
Yeah, nah. Understandable and very typical, but obviously, hopefully, we don't need it anyway, because those draft picks are going to come in clutch. They're all going to start every single game, and we're going to be absolutely fine. So I'm wondering if there are any Hawks fans watching right now, because there's a ton of people watching, and surely they're not all just Falcons fans. So Cal probably knows more about basketball than I do. I'm not really that invested. Maybe I'll get into it at some point. So Liam, sell it to me. Sell to me what happened with the Hawks.
I mean, more than he got lucky, basically.
Yeah. Literally the lottery.
There's nothing more really to it than that in terms of the way that it went. Obviously, the way that they do the lotteries, quite like it's not. I don't know the ins and outs of it. It's a lot more scientific than it sounds. Like it's not just like they put loads of like balls in a big tombola and like give it a bit of a swirl.
Yeah,
like they do like loads of different draws, and then the amount of times that like that combination comes out decides like who gets what pick and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
It's not just like one pick that it's there.
It's not like a cup drawing.
No, they run it like hundreds of times and then like do like some kind of like calculation or some crap like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But ultimately, the Hawks had a 3% chance of coming out with the number one pick, and that 3% chance hit. I mean, I think there'll be
from what the curse had been broken with that timeline went absolutely ballistic.
Yeah, it was there's a lot of obviously positivity, and I think which was great because obviously nobody expected it. I know I don't sort of like follow college basketball like too closely, but I sort of know that I believe that this draft isn't like hasn't got the like a superstar like some of the previous ones have, but usually the top players there's always quite a lot of top players available, so there's no doubt you think they're going to get a very good player and actually could make an impact for them. So I think is it the French guy, I can't remember his name.
Is the comments relevant? Because I don't know what I'm reading. But
Alex, there we go. Yeah, that's it. I can't remember his name. Yeah, Alex.
There we go. That's funny.
I would. He seems to be like like most people sort of projected number one pick anyway. I think I find it quite interesting because of like with the picks, because Sarr is like French, and I think last year's number one pick, he's either French or he's got a French origin or he's something like that. Wembyama, I think, whatever he's called.
Yeah.
it seems like a lot of the number one or the top draft picks are now actually coming out of like Europe, or I think he plays in Australia, but
Yeah.
they're not like American college teams. Like a lot of them are getting like European players are coming out on like number one, which is very different than what you see obviously like the NFL.
It's like a nice change.
Yeah, it's all college players, isn't it? It's all NFL coming out of the top colleges pretty much consistently in the NFL, and some people have obviously different origins, but they're all playing in that league. But it's very different in the NBA, where actually they draft players from a worldwide perspective. Like they don't just draft North American players; they draft. This Tsar is obviously eligible for the draft, but he's French and plays in Australia, so it's like, but he's still eligible for an American draft. So I don't know. So it seems more and more popular that actually, they're all picking. Wemby's French, the guy Wemby. I thought it was. So if Tsar goes number one, that's 2 years in a row where a French player has been picked number one. Not an American.
Love that for them. These are the nuggets of information that I need to draw me into a sport. Give me something exciting and different.
Don't think many British players get picked. I don't know any.
I just don't think we're very good at those kind of sports.
No, we're not really. We're not.
We stick to what we know. We know how to kick a football and we know how to hit a cricket ball, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that's where
we do things that Americans are not that interested in usually.
We're pretty good at darts.
Oh yeah, we'd be great at a darts draft.
Yeah, we'd be stunning. All the pub sports, banging on. Stunning.
Yeah, that's great for them. I think. I don't know if you follow the socials for the Hawks.
Yeah,
but,
I do.
Like, on Twitter and like Instagram, they've been absolutely milking it. Like every is like in relation to a number one pick. Everything relates to a number one pick for the last like 1,000 tweets in a row.
Nice.
Like, they're just absolutely going like you have. God, if nobody, everybody in the world should know that we got number one pick by now after that.
Oh, that's good.
Honestly, they've been doing it that much. But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for them. Something to, even if something to bring some excitement for them, because the last season was a bit mediocre. So somebody brings a bit of buzz around the city in a different sport, which is good.
The NBA season ties over with the NFL season as well, doesn't it? And that's
so we're just coming to the end of the playoffs, like in the NBA now. So I can't remember what month it exactly starts. It depends obviously when. Yeah.
Because if we're looking at going October, November, am I right in assuming that the season has restarted then? Or is that too early?
I think it starts like, I thought it started in October. But
we might be lucky. Because we don't just want to go to a Falcons game. Oh, there we go. Perfect from me.
What's it say?
Late
October. Right, okay, late October.
Might be all right. We might be right on the brink. That'd be the problem. Because obviously we don't just want to go to a Falcons game and trying to get to a Georgia Tech game, and then NBA game if we can as well. So maybe I won't watch a single minute of basketball until that point, and I'll let the live game be my first one.
That'd be unbelievable.
I'm like fully inducted into it.
Yeah, imagine it'd be a great experience. I've never been to one or anything, so.
Yeah, it would be. We'll try and get it sorted. But lads, I've got nothing else for the show unless you've got anything to add. No, yeah, maybe.
No, I think that's it. I think
sorted.
It's gone longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Keep talking about the schedule and that, but like you said, we'll do another. If anything, other big news comes out, we'll do one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or next month or whatever, and then we'll do just before the season starts. We'll do an actual schedule one going through
again. Absolutely.
And then roster one.
Yeah. Like Carl said, we kept it short and sweet. We just wanted to make sure we're still showing our faces when we can. As you can tell from this show, if we have no structure and no talking points, we just ramble, which is fine sometimes, but it doesn't always work, and you don't just want to hear us talk about absolutely nothing.
You don't.
And if you do, please tell us, because maybe we'll just talk rubbish more instead of topics. But yeah, so we're going to keep our eyes out for any big news and stuff. Our shows won't quite be weekly like they are throughout the season because we just don't want to come on and talk nothing. We'll wait for that big news, drop shows, and hopefully we'll have some guest dates booked in very soon. There's a few on the agenda, so if we can get dates out, we'll let you all know. And we've got some media and some of the ex-players and stuff, so we can do some Q&A type ones. Liam's wants to do a day in the life sort of one with a player, but we're not going to say which player or anything yet. So keep your eyes peeled. We're all over it. And NBA schedule out in August. Even better.
There you go.
There we go. Then. Sorted. So we'd know before we went out anyway if it works or not. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching us ramble and getting involved in the comments. Another big show, which is really good. So something's changed this season. I don't know what's going on. It's early doors, but everybody's getting involved. So yeah, thank you very much. And we will be back. But I don't know. We'll just be back. We'll be back at some point. I'll let you all know. Yeah. So stay well, and we will see you all soon. In a bit.
Cheers,
Bye.